Hero, episode 37, Phase Hero, After Dark. Did I just cut out for a second there to start the show? Did I just glitch a bit? Is my internet working okay? Okay,
You're okay
we're having some weather here, and it's kind of affecting my internet a little bit. We're going to do what we can here to keep it rolling. Beatty here. Welcome to the Daredevil, Born Again, episode 1 and 2, Phase Hero. Recap, review, and discussion. We got a big old show tonight. Is my internet working? You guys are freezing on my screen.
You are freezing a little bit, but we can hear you now.
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good enough for me. Welcome to the show. I'm BD, joined tonight by Aaron Perrine.
Hello. Greetings, everybody.
We got Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
We got Jamie Drack.
Good evening.
Good evening. And this episode is going to have full spoilers for Daredevil Born Again's premiere. It just ended, and we are going to be yapping about it. And you're also going to hear from the directors in this episode about how they tried to bring something new to Daredevil's sensory abilities, what they did there, and that was why that looked so awesome. And we are also, additionally, going to hear from Brad Winderbaum about that opening scene. Marvel TV boss Brad Winderbaum shared some insights. We'll get to that in a minute, but I promise that is the bombshell news you don't want to miss. There's something he says in that interview that is legitimate news, and we're gonna get to that, but we got to start from the beginning. Daredevil Born Again. Let's go around with some reactions. Aaron, you're at the top of the screen. What did you think of Daredevil Born Again's first 2 episodes?
Well, it's interesting, right? Of course, it's strange to lead off with me. I have a feeling all of my co-hosts will have a lot more to say, but it is strong. It is strong. It is sure-footed in a way that I don't feel like some of the other Disney Plus MCU shows are allowed to be in their first entries, and maybe that's being built on the back of 3 other seasons of a show that existed before, or maybe it's just Aaron Vincent and Moorhead, you know, they know what they're doing. It's a really, really strong start with a beginning that shocked one member of this house, which I'm sure we'll get to. She literally screamed from the couch within the first 15 minutes of the episode because did not know what was going to befall all of us. But yeah, strong start.
Gotta agree. Jenna, what'd you think?
I really liked these first 2 episodes. I definitely don't think they were completely flawless. The chat is already talking about like the CGI in some of the scenes definitely had some flaws. I also honestly liked episode 2 a lot more than episode 1. I feel like there were a lot of times with episode 1 that it was kind of losing its own steam and losing the tension that it had and just kind of like letting the balloon deflate a little bit. But it felt like episode 2 really got to the vibe of like what I'm wanting from this show. And yeah, it's surreal to see everyone back. Like they kind of have fun with it. They're maybe a little too cute with it, but I think they do a really good job. And it was definitely some interesting choices that kind of like set it apart from the original show.
Jamie, how you feeling?
I enjoyed it. BD, I hate to throw you under the bus here, but the way you talked about these episodes, I thought something insane was going to happen. Obviously, we get this big death in the beginning, but the way you were teasing it, I thought that it was going to be like, and now we're explaining how this works in the multiverse with Netflix and Disney. The way you talked about it, the whole time I'm like, so is it what's happening? And then when the death happened, I was like, oh, this is a different universe, right? And I just kept waiting and nothing happened. Like, again, I thought it was good. Benson and Moorhead rock. I loved the fight, especially in the opening. But you overhyped it a little, buddy.
Well, how could I have better described something crazy happens without spoiling it, that a major character dies in the first scene?
It was less, the way you talked about it really made me, it felt bigger. It did. And obviously a death like that is big, but, and again, it like confused me. I'm like, this is happening.
Yeah, well, it happened. R.I.P. Foggy. He gone. I thought I quite liked these episodes. I think the ending of episode 2 is a brilliant hook. I think that was wise to release 2 episodes. For full transparency, I've seen all 9 episodes of the season. So when we do predictions and stuff, I won't participate, stuff like that. But this was all 3 of your first time seeing any of these episodes, right? Nobody else had seen episodes early.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. It's not usually that way on Phase Hero. I feel elite. But I think I really liked these first two episodes quite a bit. They're not perfect. I think the CGI really is the weak point. I said that in my first review on or reaction on Twitter. Like I think like that continuous oneer shot to open the show is really just sending a message of we know what you like about Daredevil. But simultaneously, I felt like there were moments of it where it felt like the physics of the movement just looked not so human, and then it got to the stairs where it was clearly humans really captured in camera. And I also think the show kind of struggles with some of the transitions from like Daredevil running across rooftops and flying around and all that stuff, swinging around. The transition then to when it really is real, where he's landing on a rooftop or a staircase, is kind of jarring because it's so real. Comparing that with some of the CGI that was lagging, but other than the CGI, I don't like. I really enjoyed the show, and it's. I think the pacing of these two episodes I thought was really impressive. We got a mayor by the end of the first episode, and then the action and the corrupt cops and all this stuff, and now Fisk is sinking his teeth into everything. You know, he's going in and making Matt's girlfriend his therapist. I just thought it was a really good start. We got a couple super chats we got to shout out here real quick. Paul Brazis, not sure what I was more pumped for, the show or this live stream. The Devil's back like he never left. Paul, same here. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Uncle Marcus said the first two episodes were great. I hope that this becomes a hit and we get a new series for Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. Well, there's a Luke Cage Easter egg in this episode already, but we saw that in the trailer, but we're still going to talk about it. Hannah Basso said just finished. Oh my God. Thank you guys for the comments and thank you for the super chats, everybody. All right. So it seems am I the highest on it? It seems at least on the first two episodes. I think I might have liked it the most, and Jamie hated it. But
I did not hate it. I liked it. I asked 5 hours ago. I'm a huge fan of the original series. I finished
5 whole
it. I
hours.
finally finished it. No, I really did think it was good. I do want to add, people are talking about the CGI. I was graced today with a 75-inch television. I have a new giant television, and some of it, I was like, I didn't know if my settings were off or not.
Oof.
So now that I'm seeing this bad CGI thing, I'm like, oh, I thought it was just my new TV hasn't been set up right. So that's interesting.
Tom Cruise is going to break into your house and like turn off motion smoothing and get all your settings in order. He's going to be like, we will not have this at all. I also like, as people are in the chat, like wondering what scenes, I will say when Hector is in front of the train, like you can tell the train behind him is very clearly CGI'd. And like some of the stuff in the bar, like, yeah, it's not extremely noticeable. I might not have noticed it if I hadn't seen tweets kind of talking about it, but like once you notice it, it is definitely there.
I have watched these first two episodes, like 4 times now. And one of those times was on a big screen, like a movie theater at the premiere. And I'll say this, it looked better on this big screen. So I don't know, maybe it is our TVs. Maybe we do need Tom Cruise to pop by and save us from ourselves with these settings. But no, okay, so we've all had the CGI conversation. It was inevitable. We kind of felt that from the trailer, but then when you see it, yes, it does persist a bit. But other than that, I mean, this feels like, Jamie, you just finished watching the first 3 seasons of Daredevil for the first time. This is a straight up continuation of that show. And whenever we mention those things for people who didn't watch the first 3 seasons, we'll make sure to call out why something's relevant based on the first 3 seasons. But I do recommend watching those first 3 seasons because it's a very good show. But Jamie, how are you feeling it fresh off of it? Like this is basically season 4.
Yeah, I'm glad I watched it for sure because I have more connections to the character in the world. But I'm still are we confirmed though that it is the same universe? They have said it is the same. Is that confirmed? Or are we?
They've said it at the press tour. Like this is yeah.
Okay, because there were little things that I was like, could it not? But because of that, I think they did a good job of tying them together. Like obviously they referenced Echo a lot. I think Echo is honestly almost more important, or Hawkeye, because of how much they talked about it. But I do think you should watch Daredevil, but I don't think you'll be lost if you don't. But I think it'll help. You'll care more.
Yeah, it definitely fills in quite a bit of context. And Hannah Basso said, "Is this MCU's timelines 2026?" Thank you for the super chat, Hannah. I don't know the year. I'm most curious if this is all going to impact Thunderbolts, because obviously Mayor Fisk in New York, and we've seen scenes in Thunderbolts in New York. But we'll see in May if that ends up mattering. But obviously, we're going to get season 2 of this. Will Thunderbolts have any fallout from it to be decided? It has the same cinematographer though. Same person shot both Daredevil Born Again and Thunderbolts, or at least some episodes of of Daredevil. Some quick, like just recap points about what we saw tonight. We're back. Foggy is not back for that long. Bullseye is back. Quick refresher on Bullseye for everybody who didn't watch the show. He was an FBI agent who was corrupted by Fisk, ultimately turned on Fisk because Dex was stalking a girl and Fisk killed her. And Dex was pretty pissed off about that. So he went to go fight Fisk at the same time Daredevil did. And he ended up having his back broken on a corner of a wall. And then the credit scene was him getting his spine fixed. So that was interesting that he's back so quickly.
And he's a psychopath. I think that's important. He's literally a psychopath. And he has really good aim.
When he took a fly off of a light bulb with a safety pin, that was a nice, or a paper clip, that was a nice touch. Actually, one thing I want to talk about from the beginning of the show is when Matt hears Foggy on the phone outside. Did you guys notice the aspect ratio shift?
Yes, I loved that.
Oh, so cool. I got to talk to the directors about that, and I'm not going to waste your time explaining what they said. I'm just going to play it. This is what Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, directors of Daredevil, Loki, and Moon Knight, said about that moment. I don't know anything about how, because that was like that moment. I'd like lean forward and I was like,
so we don't spoil it. How do we talk about it? I don't know.
Like, people will know about, they'll revisit this. How'd you come up with that sort of
the sensory stuff?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much. Like, this has come up again a few times today, and we are tasked with figuring out how to show Matthew Murdock's subjective experience with his sensory abilities, and we had a general instinct to first attempts at it to remain analog and optical as much as possible. That is to say, instead of trying to think of some elaborate VFX or other way of doing it. I'm not saying there's no VFX involved, but that for the most part, it would be a bunch of old filmmaker tricks but using new technology to blend them. Mm-hmm. And so that's so cool that you like it. It's essentially it's a rig with 3 cameras on it. They call it the 3-headed monster. And so you're basically getting roughly 180 degree of visual information. And that's where VFX does come in a little bit because they stitch the sides. And most of the movie shot anamorphic, but we shot this with spherical lenses so that when the aspect ratio changes, it can go as big as anyone's set they're ever going to watch.
And so then is where you feel like you are Matt Murdock, where you can hear the whole world. You can hear every sound in the whole world,
That you stitch 3 angles together is unreal. Because I was thinking about, like, in Spider-Man when they did the push, like I forget the term for it when they push
dolly
zoom. The dolly zoom, yeah.
So we were simultaneously dolly zooming.
I thought you had to be.
We're dolly zooming. We've got 3 cameras. We're changing aspect ratios. We're using a different lens. Like, there were so many things, and it's so cool that it like works.
All right, I thought that was so cool that they did that, and they pushed to get that in there, and then it's zoomed. The aspect ratio then gets tight on Foggy to represent Daredevil's Matt's ability to just hone in on that phone call. I thought that was. Did anyone else like lose their mind over that, or am I just a geek? Oh wait, Jenna, what's that?
It was rad.
Okay, cool. It's not just me.
Well, I have like so I've really upgraded my living room, and my couch now has speakers in it. So I could tell it was pretty dope.
We got compliments for the sound design here from Blaine Stevens too. Also, the Newton brothers did the score for this. They also did X-Men '97. The music of the show is quite fantastic. Vanessa has been running Fisk's business, including with one member of the Tracksuit Mafia. The Tracksuit Mafia we met in Hawkeye. She's basically Queenpin. Fisk comes in and messes it all up. Matt is working with Kirsten McDuffie as a partner at the firm. Kirsten's a new character to the MCU. Kirsten is one of Matt's love interests in comics, but then again, who isn't a love interest in Matt in comics at some point. Karen gone to San Francisco. She doesn't really care to talk much about Matt. Matt Murdock has lived in San Francisco in comics before. In a couple of instances, he's done some West Coast stints. Bullseye is sentenced to oblivion in prison. What else we got here? The line you propose, registering vigilantes, that's like making a grocery list of cancers. I was like, dude, what a line. What a line. But obviously proposing registering vigilantes, that's probably some sort of reference to Civil War and the Sokovia Accords, the Superhero Registration Act. Fisk leans into that. The diner conversation. What do we think? I thought that was one of the most tense moments. It had almost the same amount of tension as the action in the beginning.
I love that scene. When it comes to Matt and Wilson, you know, in the 3 seasons, it kind of culminates with Wilson knows who Matt's Daredevil, but they never really have a conversation. They just punch each other about it. And it was cool to see them, you know, down the line in the future. And I respect Matt kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, even though he's like, yeah, I know better. Of course. And the whole thing with Wilson is fascinating, because if this show had come out 10 years ago, we'd all be saying, yeah, right, like New York would vote that man in. And now it's like, this is the most believable thing I've ever witnessed. And so it makes for an interesting show, and I'm curious to see what Wilson's like plan is here. I do have to say though, I don't like seeing him and Vanessa have marital problems. I really like Will and Vanessa's relationship, and like, because it's so weird and twisted, but like you believe the love. So I don't really like that they're fighting.
Arya legit thought that he was hallucinating her.
Oh,
like Joker?
Yeah, exactly. Legit. And I was like, I hope that's not the case, but maybe so, Ari. I hope not.
I think she stepped out. She stepped out while he was gone. That might be something that might be a little thorn in Fisk's side going forward. I don't know. We got a super chat. M7 of ATC said, "Yeah, boy, I cheered and had goosebumps when Daredevil popped up. I knew it was a theater reaction across the world in everyone's living room." That's true. I mean, I popped up mostly for Daredevil senses, and then I was in disbelief when Foggy got shot. But we're going to revisit that because that's going to be an actual talking point that we need to get to. But real quick, just to wrap up the recap of these episodes, Fisk is elected mayor. That is straight out of the comics, the Charles Soule stuff. What else we got here? Fisk fixed that hole in the street, and I was really hoping in some way that would end up being like a hole in the street caused by Doc Ock when he met Spider-Man in No Way Home. I was really hoping the show would come back around to that. Not so much, just kind of a hole in the street. But great job, Fisk. Fisk can fix it. Cherry tracks down the witness in Hector Ayala's train situation. So Hector Ayala was introduced in that subway scene that Jenna referenced, and basically framed by the police for murdering one of them, throwing from the train, but really they were just corrupt cops beating someone up. And Hector tried to step in because he is White Tiger. The Cherry tracks down the witness, and then cops come to kill him. Matt Murdock whoops their asses. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's a phenomenal ending. What did you guys think? And Jenna, what did you think of the Hector Ayala stuff in this episode?
I thought it was really brilliantly done. Like, it is obviously has this extra undertone of tragedy to it since the actor passed away since filming this season. But I think his performance is really, really compelling, and just kind of reframing it of we meet him as a civilian first, and then like we can know it. If you know his name in the comics as a comics fan, you know that twist is coming. But like the way that they build to it and the way that it is like influencing the rest of the case is really intriguing. I'm also just very glad that case was not a 1 episode thing. Like, I'm very curious how long that trial is going to go, because I feel like that is just an interesting conundrum for Matt to represent him while also knowing that bit about him.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm sad that like as soon as he started breaking it up, I'm like, yo, somebody's about to get Def Jam Vendetta fight for New York, and that's not great. I was so perturbed the entire time, like, oh my God, you don't introduce train and have all these train noises lest someone get hit by a train, and that is not great. So that was kind of brutal, but he was just trying to do the right thing. It's like, that's, I guess, reflective of our reality too.
My boy's innocent. He was just trying to help.
Yeah,
He's just trying to help, man. And you got to watch where you fall.
I get that a lot.
I'm not going to start a fight near a train. I'll tell you that right now. Fear and Beer Halloween Nights podcast. Thank you for the $9.99 here. What a way to kick off the season. Karen, Wong, Katie, and Shang-Chi karaoke when. Karen, I think, might not be in the mood for karaoke right now, but when she does bounce back and the grief subsides, maybe she'll sing and dedicate it to her boy Foggy. Let's use that as our transition into talking about Foggy. We are going to share Brad Winderbaum's take on that in just a second, but I want to go around and get everybody's reactions to this. Jenna, you're up top there.
I like I kind of hinted at in our last episode, this was very heavily inferred on social media. Like people by this morning, people were like, well, we're saying goodbye to Foggy today, RIP. Like everyone kind of had resigned themselves to the fact that this was most likely happening. So I kind of went in knowing that we were going to get it, but I was shocked having it be the opening of the entire show. I was shocked at like the ramifications that it has on Matt jumping a year into the future. Like I thought that was a really interesting, inciting incident. It was just shocking that it happened so soon.
Yeah, it happened real quick. Jamie, what do you think?
You know, first of all, because I've been on Twitter, I had no idea, and that really makes me mad that people were talking about it and hinting it. Gosh, that makes me want to punch something. But you know, I have mixed feelings about it because one, I love a good death. I love to be hurt by TV, but I also feel like it kind of sucks that originally the show wasn't even going to have Karen and Foggy, and it was this whole big thing where never mind, they're coming back, and then to kill him immediately. There has to be some diehard fans out there that are pretty upset about this. I can't say I'm upset from like a storytelling standpoint. I think it is strong, like Jenna said, and the time jump and everything. But it is also like, really? You're gonna do Eldon so dirty like that? And then give that man a paycheck. Come on. But so you know, I'm kind of mixed on it for sure.
Aaron, how you feeling about it?
I mean, I would feel probably pretty upset if I felt stronger about the ensemble, but at least you get half. Some of the complaining worked, like 65% of the complaining worked, so it's all good. I feel like, unfortunately, due to the character, right, bad stuff just happens to Matt Murdock. Like that's like him and Peter Parker. They get shat on consistently. Like that's part of the character. So you can't
just have happy heroes running around, Aaron. You can't just have happy heroes running around.
Yeah, Jenna, you could tell me 5 stories off the bat, I'm sure, where something bad happens to Matt that don't involve refrigerators.
The one this show is using it, like the name of this show is borrowed from like one of the worst storylines that Matt has ever had. Like you cannot talk about a single character, even the new ones that are introduced in the show, and not still have like some tragic backstory behind them. So like you are totally on the money there. I think that is why he's such a unique character, is he's dealing with that while also being extremely Catholic at the same time, dealing with all of it.
Yeah, we got a comment here from Hannah. Says this feels like the case could last all season, like how they do it in their Netflix's Lincoln Lawyer. I think that's a reference to Hector Ayala's. Jamie's got thoughts.
No, I just think it's funny that Netflix The Lincoln Lawyer is the reference of a season of television that goes through a trial. I think that's a really funny reference. Yeah, I at least we're gonna get a chunk, I think, of the season of the White Tiger stuff, which I like, and as we said, it's so sad that he's gone. It's I just like rewatching Moon Knight. It's the same kind of thing. Like these just actors dying so suddenly is horrible.
Yeah. RJ said, not gonna lie, at the beginning I totally thought that sensory moment was going to be Matt going through and hearing the blip. I absolutely want to see how he experiences that. I would absolutely love to see Matt experiencing the blip. I don't think we will. I think now that we're past it, it's sort of not going to serve a story purpose at this point. So unless it does, I don't think they're going to do that. And I asked Charlie Cox about that. You can go find the interview on the channel. It was really cool. But the Foggy thing shocked me. Like you guys, I mean, I don't have a huge attachment to the ensemble, but I do really like these characters, and I like the people who play them. When I watched this the first time, I was genuinely gobsmacked, basically by the bravery this show had to do it, because Daredevil seems like the one fandom that hasn't felt crossed ever, other than Netflix canceling it. And now they're all back, and the talking point was everybody's back. So I was mostly like, oh, the discourse on this is going to be rough. People are going to be pissed. But it serves the story really, really impressively so in this show. It's not like Negan killing Glenn and Abraham for shock value and then 16 episodes of Rick just being bullied. I've seen the whole show. The show is phenomenal. I was a little scared. But yeah, I was shocked that they did that, and I think it's a powerful way to start the show, and it's going to get people talking, and it's the sort of bold storytelling I'm excited to see Marvel doing. But I talked to Brad Winderbaum about this, ahead of Marvel's TV streaming and animation, and he had some really, really interesting things to say about this. So we're just gonna roll the clip. All right, Brad.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for Daredevil Born Again starting right now. Dude, this first scene.
I'm sorry.
What? I was sat forward like in disbelief that you guys killed Foggy. Talk to me first. Where did that decision come from?
It's not something that we took lightly. It led to many impassioned debates. I'll put it to you that way.
I bet.
Many sleepless nights. It's honestly nobody wanted to do it, and including me. And but we all realized it needed to happen. The story needed it to happen. Matt he had to struggle with his own internal demons in a way that that only an event like that could bring about. And it's something that happens in the books. So when you look at the source material, the cost of violence is something that drives him, and also challenges him. But I will say I see Karen and Foggy as being, intrinsically tied to Matt. I don't think there's, a Matt Murdock story without those two characters. And I'm excited to see them both in season 2 as well.
So when you say there's no story without Karen and Foggy, is that how do we do a story without Karen and Foggy? Is that really where we're going now?
Well, without going into spoiler territory, I will say that both Deborah and Eldon are coming back for season 2.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. I'll keep your secrets. But now, given that season 1, that they're seemingly maybe not going to be a huge part of season 1, how do you the rest of this clip is currently now live on the YouTube channel. You can watch the rest of that. He talks about Kirsten. He talks about Heather Glenn. He talks about some of the characters that are going to supplement the absence of Karen and Foggy in this episode. I hope you'll go watch that. I was shocked. You could see I didn't even I asked and he was like, did you hear what I just said, basically, in that second part? So first of all, real quick, SP Baker, there's nothing I want more than to find a way back to where we were, but I don't know if we can, said Foggy to Matt in S1. And that's exactly how I feel about Daredevil at the cost. Saving Daredevil at the cost of Foggy. Very fair. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Alex. Poor Matt gets outmade every 4 episodes. Are we back, though? Yes. So immediately, what are you guys thinking about that quote from Brad?
I mean, my brain just goes to flashbacks. That seems like the logical thing, but it's comics. You can bring back characters in a multitude of different ways. I was fully convinced that Bullseye was dead in that scene too, and then he magically sprung back to life and now is just in jail for it. So there could definitely be ways to bring him back. I don't know necessarily what they are, but they're probably figuring that out.
I mean, I feel like flashbacks, yeah, whatever. It's the multiverse thing, saga. We're still in the multiverse saga.
No.
Yes, we are.
No.
But we are.
No.
Though. But that's just where we are.
No.
Yes.
Stop. No. Don't you bring that
That's-
multiverse into Daredevil's New York City.
You brought it in when you told me that this is going to be huge. And
No, I didn't. No, I sure didn't.
I really that is really intriguing because I think the easier way to talk about that would be flashbacks, but I don't know, man. Brad said that for a reason. Listen, he said that for a reason. He wanted you to be thinking about well, what does that mean? What are you talking about? And I see people in the comments saying Secret Wars isn't going to happen by the time season 2 is out. Isn't season 2 next year in the summer?
Presumably.
But depending on when Doomsday comes out and what the state of things are after Doomsday, who knows? I do think there isn't a 0% chance that what Jamie is talking about could happen. I just for the craziness of it, I almost want that because I feel like that would just be a wild way to differentiate the show. But yeah, I know BD's over here please God, no.
Yeah, Kingpin builds a collider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop. Okay, so I have theories on this. I have a theory on why he said this, and I have a theory on how this works. One, I think he said this because Eldon's going to be on set. They started filming season 2 already. So I would assume they probably know people are going to snipe something like that. If he just said Eldon and Karen are both back in season 2, I would assume that might be why. Do I know that? No, but that's my speculation. But also he said there's comic precedent for this, and he talked about Daredevil being pushed by tragedy around him, but there is comic precedent for Foggy dying. There is a whole book. Ed Brubaker has a run where The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson is a story. It's a very different start. Foggy is stabbed, not by Bullseye, and dead as far as everyone knows and sees and witnesses. And it's pretty brutal. And then it turns out The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson is actually just Foggy being in witness protection. And there's a whole storyline about why he's in witness protection. He doesn't want to be in witness protection. He tries to escape, but ultimately, like, Elektra protects him. It's like, no, go back to the witness protection. So I think that might be what they're doing. I don't know. But this is a possible angle for what they do with Foggy. That man looked dead. We literally heard his heart stop in this episode.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Matt would have to be in on it because we heard Matt heard him die, right? Yeah. Matt heard that happen. And it was the same with Karen. Like, if they're so in on it, why are they not talking anymore? Like, there's a lot of questions if this is the route they're taking.
In the comics, even Matt doesn't know that Foggy was
then how
alive.
did he fake his heart stopping?
I don't know. Maybe they revived him.
A lot of people in the comments talking about the hand because that's how Elektra got brought back. But I would be really surprised if, like, this isn't the Lazarus Pit in the CW. Like, I don't think that they're just going to keep using it over and over again. I don't think that's going to happen.
Everybody's bringing up such fun stuff from the past. Dear God.
I'm glad Jamie said that because that was where my brain went and I didn't want to say it. So I'm glad that those words got mentioned.
Jamie, there's one just for you.
Oh yeah, the Tahiti program. So we all know Brad Winderbaum is working hard to put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into Daredevil.
Also, we do need to point out multiple people are saying Nick Fury did make his heart stop in Winter Soldier. So I don't know. There is precedent for it.
There is. Nick Fury did it in Winter Soldier, says Blake Fleeting. So yeah, I mean, so over under. Let's take a vote. Not an over-under. That doesn't make any sense in this context. Show of yays and nays. Do you think Foggy Nelson is dead and will only be in flashbacks, or do you think there's some way he survived and he will be in the current timeline? Multiverse counts too.
Okay, multiverse. I'm going with my theory. That's what I think.
Jamie says, yay, there is a version of Foggy that's alive going forward. Jenna?
I say yay purely because all of these theories that have come up are all too delightful for me to just be like a stick in the mud and be like, it's only going to be flashbacks. I want him to come back because I feel like it would just be wild.
Prophet?
The hand.
Bring it back.
Eldon just signed with new representation too. He could like be in the gym. Like, it would be really, really fun to see him have an arc where he gets to do a bunch of the action stuff.
Wasn't the hand like pretty much wiped and after when the building collapsed in the Defenders?
Yeah. But listen, it's like the Hydra thing, right? There's always some other person out and about. And we never really knew what happened to Elektra either. Like, she supposedly died, but we never saw like a body. I also want to say that if it's flashbacks, fine, but I'm gonna be pissed if it's like Daredevil season 3 and he just is talking to Ghost Foggy, because I did not care for that in season 3 of Daredevil when he's like talking to his dad and talking to a ghost Fisk, even though he's still alive. I really hope they don't do that in season 2 of this Daredevil.
He's dead as Foggy's long lost twin, says DC Film News.
That's the one.
I think there will be a version of him that's alive, but I also then think about like Rick Grimes hallucinating his wife on the phone, and I'm like, maybe Foggy is just like the devil or angel on the devil's shoulder or something. Alex B says, yay, he comes back as the new Winter Soldier. Who the hell's Foggy? All right, what else we got? I have a list of Easter eggs I can run through, and I can do that to wrap us up before we give this a 10 score. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about from these first 2 episodes?
It was fun to hear a lot of F-bombs on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Like a Disney Plus show. Like, obviously now you can watch the original Daredevil on there. But I every time they said it, I was like, Disney said the F word.
We got a Mike Murdock reference from Matt
Yeah.
Gorsuch. Yeah, that's the name that Matt used to lay low for a while in that same storyline with The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson.
I just have to say, I loved the soundtrack of these first 2 episodes, and like especially the pilot. Like even as I said, I liked episode 2 more. Like hearing like TV on the radio and Nick Cave on a Disney Plus like Marvel show was kind of wild in and of itself. Like they did a really good job in addition to the score, just like picking music for the show.
I need to know what those two were listening to in the aughts. They got a lot of dirtbag NYC in this, or I'm just like, man, oh man.
Do, doom, doom. I just got a DC I made.
I was just about to say.
I've had the Daredevil theme song stuck in my head for like 3 weeks. I've been trying to get through this show all weekend. I was in Austin for Novocaine, punched Jack Quaid in the face, and I was like, Jack, I gotta go watch Daredevil, bro. And then I just I gotta go to the airport. Let me squeeze one episode in my hotel room before I go. Will it stream on the Wi-Fi? But I signed an agreement that said I wouldn't watch with anyone around, so I didn't. This show's so good. All right, Easter eggs here real quick. Reverence for the past, yet hope for the future. Clearly a meta reference to the previous iterations of the show and an acknowledgement that they are trying to incorporate that while also do something new. Dario said that in my interview with him, like they very intentionally wrote that stuff, and it's also reflected in the diner scene. Karen said we should just get out of here. If you don't know, Karen and Matt, just like everyone else that's a woman in Matt's life, pretty much, they have a bit of a history. NMNP, Nelson, Murdock, and Paige that Foggy was referencing when spitting his game and shooting his shot at Kirsten. That is the name of their, firm that was written down in the very final moments of Daredevil season 3. And in the years that have passed since, they've obviously firmed it up. Kirsten McDuffie, love interest in Matt in the comics. Heather Glenn, also a love interest in Matt in the comics. Heather Glenn has a really tragic story in the comics. She takes her own life. No idea if that's going to happen in the show. I really hope it doesn't. I like this character quite a bit. I think she's good for Matt. The opening Bullseye versus Daredevil action scene, I timed it, or check the clock. It was over 4 minutes long from the moment that they crashed through the window to the moment the camera cuts from when they're on the roof. I thought that was pretty impressive and a great way to start the show. Clark Johnson, who plays Cherry, also directed 2 episodes of Luke Cage. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and I like Cherry quite a bit. We haven't talked about Cherry very much. I thought that character's pretty cool.
Delightful. Like he's not in the comics because I know people in the chat were asking about that, but I think this is a case where adding a new character and not just having people ask like, where's Jessica Jones? Why isn't she doing private investigator stuff? Like Cherry fits into the world of this show very well.
Mm-hmm. Hannah asked, do we know anything about Bibi? Bibi Urich is the niece of Ben Urich, who was a reporter that in the Netflix series Fisk just killed with his bare hands in his office to prevent, the digging and the exposés to be happening. Fisk is a bad person. People voted for him. Luca from the Tracksuit Mafia, introduced in Hawkeye. Karen gone to San Francisco, home of Shang-Chi. Daredevil's been there before. Pim Van Dyne Foundation is on the New Year's hats. Move over, Planet Fitness. Debuted in Quantumania. Hope is trying to use Pim particles to improve the world, basically, and the Pim Van Dyne Foundation is spearheading that. Harlem's Paradise has a Times Square billboard. That's a Luke Cage reference. Harlem's Paradise is a club that we visit several times in the Luke Cage series. Pingo Dose has an ad. That's the soda from the Incredible Hulk. It's all connected. The Incredible Hulk is getting a resurgence right now. We are living in the Incredible Hulk continuation era. Rogers the Musical obviously had a billboard there. That's a reference to Hawkeye and the aftermath of the Steve Rogers stuff.
Still running. That musical is so popular. People are still going to see it. It has not closed down yet, which means it's thriving.
BD's in shambles.
Wait till they stunt cast Cynthia and Ariana to be in it in Secret Wars.
Why do you all want to see me? Dakota coming in from Twitter said, just confirm that Eldon is coming back for season 2. Yes, we did that. That was us. Thank you. Welcome to Face Hero. Let's talk about Daniel for a second. Little Gandolfini. This character's new, and I don't like this kid, but I love when he's on the screen. Very, very good portrayal of an annoying little sidekick that Wilson Fisk is very obviously going to take advantage of now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Don't
Dakota, it's okay.
That guy. Don't sit on any benches with that guy. Don't sit on any benches. Don't go to any parks with that guy.
Don't feed any ducks.
Don't feed any ducks with that guy.
Is this a Penguin reference?
No. Oh,
Yeah.
and Sopranos.
And Sopranos. My mind went to oh man, Vic.
Renzi?
Oh yeah, Vic. He's in the doit. He's in the doit. They treat us like doit. Say it's not. I'll tell you what. The only thing better than my Penguin impression is my Kingpin impression. So there's don't even get me started. We might have to save that for next week. What else we got? The problematic nature of the Punisher logo being used by governing figures in positions of power is a really nice touch. That is something that the Punisher creator Jerry Conway has addressed in the past. And this is a quote from him. He said, "They are embracing an outlaw mentality, whether you think the Punisher is justified or not, whether you admire his code of ethics. He is an outlaw. He is a criminal. Police should not be embracing a criminal as their symbol." I love that quote. And I think that the usage of Punisher stuff on corrupt cops is pretty well done in this show.
Jamie, go ahead.
It makes me so happy that they seem to be doing that, because like they're taking stuff obviously from our real life, our real world, and pushing it in a way that I think is really smart. And I think that addressing what's been happening with this logo in our true reality is, of course, because it's messed up, and it's it's one of the things I'm most impressed about, and I can't wait to see where they take it.
Yeah, this was like the biggest surprise of these two episodes for me, honestly. Also, we should say Jerry Conway is the co-creator. John Romita Sr. and Ross Andrew co-created The Punisher with him. But I was so blown away by this because, to Jamie's point, as excited as I was when we announced like the special presentation, I was like, how are we going to put Punisher in the spotlight and the solo thing again in the context that we have now of like so much has changed even since the Punisher show got canceled. Like, how do you recontextualize all of that? And this now makes me so excited to see how he factors into season 1 and if that part like gets addressed at all, because that feels like a really interesting character beat for him.
Okay, it's no comment.
Yeah.
No comment. Punisher is one of my favorite characters, my favorite Marvel characters. I love the Punisher stuff in this show, Wilson talks about his father and his respect for Fiorello LaGuardia. He ran for his father, by the way, ran for 3rd District Council. That's from the old show. Wilson also killed his own father. So this dude is just psychotic.
He did? They never talk about that.
I have a fact in here just about Hector Ayala. This is Marvel's first Latin American superhero. Debuted in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu #19 back in 1975. Created by Bill Mantlo and the late, great George Perez. Absolute legend. And has basically just super martial arts skills. First one in his family to have that mantle. And the mantle does get passed on through generations. And who knows if we'll see that in the MCU. But White Tiger's suit looked cool. All right. Anything else we want to touch on before we get to our 10 scores to wrap this up? Muse. Wait, the comment section is talking about Muse. Muse was deaf shown. The guy going to the therapist is deaf him and is going to kill her next episode, says Hannah with the bold prediction. Muse, woo, that's a violent character in comics. Captures victims and uses their blood to make art. It's pretty gross. What do you guys think about that possible introduction of Muse in Heather's session?
I liked that. Because also with like the mural being painted at the like when Fisk is giving his speech, like I feel like they're peppering all of that in so that when we get to that, it's going to be, like you said, also coupled with how violent the character naturally is. Like that is going to be a really dark turn, and I feel like a lot of people watching are not prepared for it.
If he does kill her, I can't be next week. I mean, like let's give Matt a week off, maybe.
Yeah.
If somebody's close to dying, jeez.
What did Hobie say? He gets made every 4 episodes. The counter started. We're already rolling like a taxi counter, apparently. All I need to know about Muse was freaking Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox started whispering like schoolboys when you asked them about it, BD. So I am officially scared. I am a little bit like, oh no, this is way off the Aaron scale. I'm gonna probably turn my head.
There's RJ in the comment section pointing out that I did not call out the Spider-Man reference that Wilson Fisk gave in his State of the Union. Oh no, that was a different villain. There's the reference to skull logos. There's the reference to a man who dresses like a spider. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. One, I don't think they can say Spider-Man on Disney Plus. I think that's Brad kind of talks about how they can only do animated because Sony has the rights, but also that's kind of an homage to the original Netflix shows with these characters, the Defenders characters, because they would as far as I know, could name the Avengers. I don't really know. I know there was a little bit of a disconnect between Marvel Studios and that version of that iteration of Marvel TV, but they would refer to Thor as the guy with the hammer, the man in the metal suit, the big green guy. They would never actually call them out by name, and that seems to just be keeping up that sort of language, and I thought that was a fun touch too. They didn't name the Punisher. They didn't name Spider-Man, and I thought that was a fun little nod to that sort of talking in New York City. That said, I am wondering where the heck is Spider-Man during all this, but I guess I don't know what he would do to Wilson Fisk. It's not like he's just going to show up at the office and be like, recount. I don't know. People, what's Spider-Man going to do? But all right, let's go around with some 10 scores. If anything else comes up in the comment section, we can discuss it. We can answer some questions, but we'll go around 10 scores. We'll do both episodes as one, just the premiere. It's premiere night. Jenna, unfortunately for you, you are at the top of the screen. I'm happy to go first if you want, but
no, I can go first. I would say I'm probably at a 8.4. Like I said, I definitely liked episode 2 more than episode 1. I feel like just pacing wise, narratively, it really started to click together in episode 2, but it definitely left me excited to see more. Like it made me glad that they did the 2-episode premiere, even as it basically was like a 2-hour movie. So I'm happy with it.
Aaron?
Yeah, probably like 8.2. Like I still am kind of like confused a little bit. I hope that I get some more clarity on some certain things. I feel like I might have benefited from the Jamie Dirac rewatch strategy possibly, but I kept a lot of it in my brain, but there were still some things I'm like, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's going on. Daredevil fans probably going to be excited. I mean, as long as you don't let CGI discourse hijack your enjoyment of the show, you should be absolutely fine. Like it feels like season 4 of the show. Like you won. Yep. You won.
Saved him.
You saved him, right? Job done.
I'll give it an 8. A nice 8. Hearty 8.
A nice hearty 8. On these first 2 episodes, I am sitting at I'll go 8.3. which puts us at a combined Phase Hero score of an 8.2, which I think is a fair score for these. That's a good score. I think anything less than a 10, people are like, you guys hate it. And the thing is, if it's less than 10, the only person who hates it is Jamie. So I think that's a pretty fair score, 8.2 out of 10. The comment section, Jamie hated Daredevil, confirmed. No, we get it.
I give it an 8. An 8. That is anything but hate.
Obviously hated it. If this is your first time watching Phase Hero, that is a running joke, by the way. And I won't point that out ever again. Next time, I'll just let you buy it. Rudy Torres says 9.2 out of 10. Judon Foster says 7 out of 10. Eric Dion Cheney says 8.5. Hannah, 8.6. Lawrence, 8. RJ Pegman, 10 out of 10 for both. Mushfikar says 8.5. Alex, 8.5. Sick gives it a 10. We're all pretty much on the same page. Curtis, 8.5. Dakota, 8.5. That's a passing score, says Alex Clean. I would say 8.2 is a B- in school, and that's sort of what I think about sometimes when I'm grading things. Like anything above a 65 is passing, even though you really don't want a D+. Like that's the one passing grade you really, really don't want. 10 from Nicholas Jameson. Q gives it a 9. Jonathan gives it a 9. All right, that's our show, everybody. Please, over 200 people watching live right now. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will be doing this every single Tuesday night. I'm working on booking some more interviews and everything to get some insights from the people who make this show, who bring it to life. Just like we had Brad dropping some big news that Foggy and Karen will both be back in season 2. Hopefully we can get more of that in the future. And because you all watch this, because you support Phase Hero, and our new Pod Without Fear merch is available now on phasehero.com because you all support us, we're able to keep doing this stuff. Jamie, any last words for tonight's episode?
Actually, yeah, I have a question for you. So, I've watched The Defenders. I've watched all of Daredevil. Should I watch Punisher next?
I like Punisher quite a bit.
Okay. Do you think that obviously you can't spoil if it's a direct correlation, but you're telling people to watch Daredevil. Should we watch Punisher?
Is Punisher going to be integral to the story?
Sure.
No. If
right.
you understand that Punisher is a guy whose family was killed by bad guys and he became a guy who kills bad guys eternally forever because of that, you pretty much understand it. That said, I do
Right.
recommend watching Punisher. It's fun. But Punisher's introduction came in the Daredevil series. Like this Punisher
Yeah.
first appeared in
Season
season 2 of Daredevil. So you get the gist of him, but John Bernthal is phenomenal in that role. He is a great Frank Castle, and I quite enjoy the Punisher show. So I recommend it,
All right.
but it's not required viewing for the story of Daredevil Born Again, I'd say.
Great, I'm gonna watch it. And now I will say my real goodbye, which is goodbye. I finally made a background just for Daredevil, and a reminder that Leto is back talking about Agents of Shield. So definitely go check out our latest episode and keep an eye out for more episodes. And don't take your phone out when you're in the movie theater.
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics, go read some Daredevil comics, go read Punisher comics, and go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics. And I'll stop doing my plugs because I know Aaron has a much more interesting one. So take it away.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. It's at Some Lake Corner all over the place. And earlier today, I launched my own weird little show. It's called Free Space. It's the free streaming TV podcast. We're going to cover all the weird, strange places that you can watch things for free. We've talked about it on Phaser at length. Everything is too expensive. So we're going to find you to watch for free. And if you follow how to watch free.tv and on Instagram, how to watch free TV, we'll cover all that fun stuff for you. We're going to make a physical TV guide situation. It's a zine. If you want to buy it, you can. And then you can page through and follow along with you and your family and me, and hang out. That's what this big, giant, weird spaceship set that I've designed is for. So yes, please come support so that my wife does not leave me because I bought this giant set that's in our kitchen right now.
Let's go. Congratulations. Good work.
Thank you.
Everybody, please go support Aaron on that endeavor. We'll all be there rooting you on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Phase Zero. Please subscribe to the channel. Please leave 5-star reviews in podcast form. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about on these. If you want, more comics explained, more of the Netflix stuff explained, whatever it is, reactions, opinions, debates. If you have things you want us to talk about, let us know, because I want to make sure the Phase Zero audience is getting what they want and is having a good time with us. To everybody who watched the OVW match, which just aired earlier tonight, thank you so much. Going forward, I will be working OVW every Thursday in Louisville as long as they will have me, and that includes this Thursday. So I hope to see you all there. Thank you for that. That's been awesome. And I think also I kind of got that opportunity because of this. Like, let's not play dumb. I think I cut the line a little bit because of the following, because of what I might bring in terms of ticket sales and viewership. But knowing that I only ever want to show up if I can make it worth people's time. I know wrestling world is hard. So thank you everybody who has supported my wrestling journey and watched that OVW match. And I hope, the next matches only get better and better. John Cena heel, says Judon. I know I would never go heel. I would never go heel. You hear me? I'll never do it. You can't break me unless you don't show up, and then I'll go heel and start blaming all of you. That's what a heel does. All right, y'all. But that's our show. We'll be back tomorrow with our Wednesday show. It was supposed to be yesterday. I was traveling back from Novocaine. I know I said we're moving to Mondays in March. It's March. We didn't move to Mondays, and that is 100% my fault. But we will be back tomorrow with a fun episode. We're going to talk some Oscars. We're going to talk. I'm sure there'll be a bit more Daredevil stuff to cover and stuff. But yeah, that's my long-winded way of saying goodbye. So you're going to see the color blue for the first time all night, because I don't have an alternate outro for you. Play our show for your dad, play it for your cat. We'll see you tomorrow.